Hi, everyone. Today is Wednesday, July 15th, 2026, and this is the International Outreach Think Tank meeting. And I'm Tammy Healy, the moderator of the meeting. Um, and I'd like to start us off on a prayer, if you guys, would indulge me a little bit here. Divine Creator, source of all that is, we call upon your infinite love and wisdom to surround us this evening. We step into this meeting with unwavering faith, knowing that we are divinely protected, guided, and blessed beyond measure. We surrender our fears, our doubts, and our worries. We release all that no longer serves us. We let go of resistance, and in its place, we welcome the radiant light of divine favor. We are covered by an impenetrable shield of divine protection. No negativity, no fear, and no limitation can touch us. We are surrounded by light. We are guarded by love. We walk in divine safety wherever we go. Tonight we declare that blessings are flowing into our lives and our assemblies effortlessly. Every door that was once closed is now opening. Every obstacle is now dissolving. Every delay is transforming into divine timing. Breakthroughs are happening right now. We are stepping into reality where abundance, joy, success are our birthright. The universe is aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in our favor. Divine Source, fill us with your wisdom and let our thoughts be inspired, our words uplifting, and let our actions create ripples of kindness and love in the world. We declare that this meeting be filled with grace, miracles, and unexpected blessings. So think it, so feel it, so speak it, so be it. It is done. All right. So I'm going to pass the meeting over to the New Jersey Assembly's Marshal at Arms, Dan Healy. So if you would, thank you, Dan, read the Bivens decision for us.
Not a problem. This meeting is private. Bearing false witness representation and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance in today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, county, or township agencies present? Is there any response to the Bivens decision for the first time? Is there a response for a second time? Is there a response for a third and final time? Hearing none. Anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now or leave this conference call. If they subsequently show up as federal witnesses, they are discredited for failure to disclose. Are you now or have you ever received money or personal support of any kind from the intelligence community? Upon no response to this notice of the Bivens decision, this meeting shall now proceed. Back to you, Tammy.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm just going to open it up. I do have, Loretta, I have you going on to, talking about your outreach on new business. And I'll also give Andrew a little bit of the floor when we get to new business. But does anybody have anything else that they'd like to share that they've done successfully for outreach on their state? You could just either raise your hand or say, may I, and unmute yourself. Nothing to share. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. So let's get on to old business. I'm still would love to get all 50 states represented for the American States Assembly's podcast. And so you have my email address, reach out. Before I was wearing many hats in my assembly, I was actually a little bit more ambitious and a little bit more proactive with reaching out to coordinators to schedule their interview, but I just haven't had the time. And so I think that's, one of the reasons I think everybody is busy on their assemblies. And if I'm not, reaching out and emailing people, it just doesn't get scheduled. So, but in any case, hopefully in the near future that will change. But if you're on here tonight and your assembly has not been represented, It's a great time to schedule a podcast. I'd love to have all 50 states represented. So, all right, moving on. Jill Mumbauer, go ahead. I'm going to let you talk about the family reunion. And at the same time, I am going to pull up the questionnaire for everybody to see on the screen. And, maybe you can, just tell us about the family reunion. And I could actually, if you'd like, I could put this this PDF of this in the chat.
Yes. Okay, Tammy. I just want everybody to know today is the last day to sign up for the family reunion. So if you are interested and want to come and are serious that you can do it without funding, the email address is on there for American 2026 reunion at Yahoo. You can send this questionnaire filled out to that email address. From that point, you will get more information about what is happening. After today, we'll know more. We've been waiting for the numbers to come in. We do have Wednesday the 9th planned because it's going to be the celebration that is actually the anniversary, the 250th anniversary of the Federation of States. We are having that same Thursday. We have pop-up tents, topic tents. We're going to do training of different types. And then Friday, we're hoping to do a tour into the Philadelphia to the Capitol and do some touring of the city. Other than that, I don't have too much planned. We're going to have free time probably for Saturday and Sunday because some are coming from a distance and want to do other things. So until I have the numbers of people, I don't have any more explicit details. But it's really important. I have so many people that have sent me a message that they want to come. But if I don't have this paper filled out that they're coming, and I know it, not depending on funding, then I can't count them because I have 296 tickets that I have been online and maybe 60 people have responded. So the numbers aren't really good. As you can see on this page here, the one hotel, which is the Hampton House, which is underneath the red printing right there, they are giving us a discount without a contract. That's where I am staying. That's where a lot of other Pennsylvania people or other states are staying. So, like I said, we'll be meeting there. I'm hoping they'll give us another room to just meet up. I just don't know. It's unknown till I have the numbers. So after this weekend, once I have the numbers, everybody who is coming will get an email from that committee telling they are on the list to come. We will have a call the first week in August, a Zoom call to explain to everybody what's going on, and then have one at the end of August to answer any more questions and go from there. So that's what we have so far. So tonight is your last night to contact us. Any other questions?
I have a question, Jill.
Sure.
The Hampton Inn, did you say that they're giving you a room or they're
giving us a better rate that we didn't need to contract with them?
Gotcha.
A lot of the places wanted us to have a contract.
Right.
And yeah. But when I've been talking with the woman here, I think we might be able to get a room that we can meet at if we have enough people staying there. But until I have more people staying, I have not pushed her. But the other places that we had contact, they wanted thousands and thousands of dollars to get a room for a few hours, to supply some food, have anything. It was horrendous. Plus they wanted to charge us parking on top of it. Just to work there. So it just got to be unbelievably expensive. So when I talked to the woman that handles the Holiday Inn plus this one, now the Holiday Inn was pretty well booked. She couldn't give us a rate, but you can walk between the Holiday Inn to the Hampton House. And it's just 5 minutes from where we're having the presentation. So that's the best that we came up with because the Valley Forge area, King of Prussia area is very expensive. Or you don't want to stay in the Philadelphia area because that's really high and too congested. So this was the best place we had found to have people stay.
Beautiful. Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Jill? Any questions about this document, the questionnaire?
Also, we have come up with some logos for this event. We have the one main one, and we have others. Vicki said she would be in contact and she will get them in your outreach and explain what people can do with them. But she couldn't be on the call, and she handles all of that. So I didn't want to show them or do anything. That's Vicki's thing, not mine.
Yep. Vicki's very talented in that way. Yep.
And awesome. I said, I do what I do, and she does what she does, and it works out perfect.
Yes, and this is what you're great at, and it's great. Yep. Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much. And yes.
May I?
Yes, go ahead.
This is for Jill. On one of the paperwork that you had, it said that you had to book for two days, correct?
I'm sorry, what did you say? I misunderstood you.
That you have to book for 2 days, correct?
No, you can come and do what you want. It's up to you. We have 2 days planned. The 9th is a Wednesday, is the actual 250th anniversary of the Federation. So we have events booked for that day and for the next day. You can come and choose what you want.
Okay, because we didn't fill out any kind of paperwork yet because of the fact I had a stroke, but I'm having trouble walking, and I don't know whether I'm going to be able to come out for more than 1 day. And we wanted to come out for the 250, but Tammy knows my situation.
Well, the place that we're having it is, it's not far from the hotel, and it's a very peaceful park type setting. We have a pavilion. There are areas for people who, it's a driveway type thing, but you could use a wheelchair if needed. The bathrooms, unfortunately, are on top, but they are putting handicap bathroom in there. But we're pretty much going to be at the same place for the 2 days. And it's just very laid back, very peaceful. I don't want to have anything rush. We're just going to do it so that everybody can get together, meet people, talk with them, and do training and just have fun. There's just too much going on right now to not have fun. And the place is going to be, we have it for 10 hours each day. So somebody from our assembly will be there from like noontime till 10 o'clock every night for Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to do a lunch and a dinner, have it catered there. So people can come when they want. And I think it's going to be just more or less so that everybody can get to know everybody. Because I find when you're rushed and we don't have enough time to actually physically talk to people face to face, that is as important as anything else at this time.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I can get an email out to you tonight.
Yep.
For 2 people for like Wednesday, we would be okay.
Yeah, just fill out this form on the top. The email is there, and let me know. So because every one of these who's coming, I have printed them out, and I'm going by my papers for people. So I can always keep my papers with me. I don't want to have to depend on having on my computer because internet's not always good. So I want one of these for every person that's coming. So I can say, okay, Ohio has this much, New Jersey has this. That's why I want this paper. And then you'll start getting more information as the times, the costs, everything else. I don't have that until we have the number of people.
Okay.
But it's going to be very laid back. We're going to do an actually sound bowl thing on Thursday for like 90 minutes. So you can bring comfortable chairs or blankets or whatever. So I just want to make it uplifting and fun and get people to know each other at this point in time that's my goal with being chair for this committee. And then the 9th celebration, we have ideas, but we're not finished with what we're going to do for that one.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, and Tammy has my information. So if you have any trouble with that, send me a text message. You can give her my information and answer any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Jill, is Scotty leading up that sound bowl?
Yes. He has
Awesome.
another a person working with him on that. So yes.
Yeah. And when did you say, do you have a time for when that is going to
That's
be?
going to be Thursday after the topic tents because it's more relaxing and we don't want to relax people first.
Right.
That's going to
Yeah.
be we don't have the time frame yet.
Okay. I was just wondering. Yeah.
Oh, so
Gotcha.
the topic tents, we have a lot of other people who want to do some training. So we're going to have different ones going on that people want to choose. So there'll be separate areas. So there shouldn't be any confusion of hearing people from one to the other because there's enough space to space out at this place.
That's
And
great.
there's lots of grass and it's peaceful. When we went there to check it out, we didn't want to leave. That's how good it feels there. So I think it's going to be really great for the assembly. And we're private. There's nobody else around us. The firehouse is in the front and the rest is just grounds.
Oh, it sounds great, Jill.
So I think it's
Yeah.
going to be really nice. Like I said, once we get all the numbers, then I'll start getting more information out and get the times that we can get together on a Zoom call and go over everything.
Yeah, that sounds great. And thank you so much for putting all the time and energy into it. I
Sure.
know.
It's been interesting and frustrating because all I want is this paperback, and I have so many people have written and they don't answer with the paper and they're not going to get any more information. So I keep trying to tell them, just send it back to me. Take a picture and text it. I don't care. Email, just any way you can, just so I can print it out.
Yeah, and just for the record, for everybody, when I finally opened it up, it was very easy. My computer allowed me to autofill,
Right.
so I was able to type in whatever information you needed, and then I saved it as a PDF, and that was what I sent over to you. So it's not that hard.
Yeah, I had a woman in another assembly in the beginning. I don't know which one it was. Actually, made it that way for me because that's not my thing. So
Yeah,
I've been using
she
that
did a
one.
good job. Yep.
Yeah, it's been a big help. So we're working together to make this the best that we can under the circumstances.
Yeah, of course. That's the only way it's going to ever get done is when we all work together.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun and just get to have time to spend with people because that's the biggest thing I hear when I talk to new people. Face to face is what people need.
Right.
You see their
Right.
energy, you feel it, and
Yep.
any questions you want, you can answer, and we can all grow faster that way.
Yep. That's for sure.
There's no other questions. I'll yield and move on to another meeting.
Okay, Jill. Thank you again.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Yep.
Yep.
Bye.
You too, Jill. Bye bye. All right, moving on. We're going to move on to new business. So I did ask Loretta. Loretta, you're still on here, right? Oh, there
Yep,
you are.
I'm here. Yep.
I couldn't find you. I'm like, oh, there you are. Well, I asked Loretta to come on because on the Telegram channel that we have, she shared their outreach initiative, the pictures of their float. They entered in a 4th of July float. And anyway, I don't want to steal her thunder. I'm going to hand the floor over to you, Loretta, and you could tell us all about it from planning it and who helped with it, how you, got in touch with the people to enter into the parade, and if you had any struggles with doing that, so if you would, I yield to you.
Okay. Well, hi everyone. So basically, the parade that we ended up entering into was the local one that I have that I actually live in the county that the parade was in. And so it just happens that this small town is has been celebrating have a July 4th celebration every year for 100. This was the 147th year. So it is the longest running July 4th celebration this side of the Mississippi. And so I had seen the ads and everything for it, people were talking about it, and I just got to thinking, I was like, wow, we really can't just let this go. Because to me, this is our coming out year, for Missouri. And, Missouri's had such a rough time over the last few years. And so I just felt like, we're finally getting into a place where, we really need to do some outreach and that everybody was feeling that way. And I was like, what better than to celebrate the 250th anniversary and for Missouri to be there and to do it at the longest running parade this side of the, Mississippi. And so I just went to the Chamber of Commerce and asked some questions, took the information back to the assembly and said, hey, do you guys want to do this? And I said, I realize, we're all kind of all over the state. Not everybody can come, but, if some of you guys can come, because I just can't do it by myself, but if some of you can come, then, let's see what we can do. And so we also had the opportunity to all have a vendor booth as well. So we ended up doing both. We had a vendor booth ended up being 2 days. It was marked for 3 days, but we ended up doing two because of the weather that ended up coming in and the circumstances surrounding, what happened with that. They ended up shutting everybody down partway through the second day and told everybody to pack up and go home just because there was bad storms that were coming in. And so, but anyway, we all did, agree that we weren't sure we're going to do a float. We liked the idea. I did some chat GPT to try to get some ideas, and so I was showing that to the assembly. I'm like, well, these are some ideas. I realize, we can't, do this whole big float and everything, the way they have it there, but, maybe we could do something. And so, yeah, we have a fantastic Curtis Sill. He is fantastic. He used to do sets and everything with theater, and so he knew how to build. And so he worked on the cake, and so we ended up putting together. He ended up putting together the cake part of it, and then Karen Foote, she was our outreach chair, and she also, lived within proximity of where the parade was going to take place. And so we talked about what to do, and she started planning it, and that part all, came together. And a couple of us worked on the booth, and, so by the time we got done, it was, we had it kind of all figured out. Our biggest challenge was that we needed to transport it an hour to an hour and a half away. The float was built about an hour and a half away from here, and we had to transport it. And so we couldn't obviously build everything. We could only build part of it. And so we did end up meeting also at Karen's house. At one point, we all gathered at her house and worked on it together and got the pillars and worked on those and trying to get everything put together as much as we could, and then brought the rest of the supplies this direction that morning. So Karen's husband, I owe him a debt of gratitude. I really, really appreciate him. He's the one who drove the truck, and he was a nervous wreck trying to get it all here. And he's wanted to make sure it was going to be here on time and that nothing was going to happen. And so he did a lot to try to do that, but it all came together and everybody worked together, and yeah, it worked out well. And so we were pretty excited, and we followed the directions. One of the big things that we found was that part of the reason why we won, first place, is because we actually followed the theme. They said, that the theme was Star Spangled 250th. And so when we planned our float, that's how we planned it. And you were supposed to have that written on there. You were supposed to have your organization or, who you were with written on, had to be also on the float. So those were some really important things. Most people don't follow the theme, and they didn't put that on the criteria. They didn't follow what was supposed to be on there. And when they saw our float, okay, I wasn't there because once you get to the staging area that you go into, only those who were going to be with the float were permitted to go in, and I was with the booth. So once I left Karen and her husband, because they were the two that was going to be with the float, I went to the booth. But she said that when they saw the float. They were so excited because they were like, "Oh, you guys did exactly what we wanted. You followed everything that we were asking for." So it's pretty exciting. There was some other nice floats that were there too. So but it was really cool. We were really excited that we won first because we felt that was honestly, I felt that's what should have happened. And so, not because necessarily that, we did a fantastic float, but we really wanted to make a splash for our first time, and we knew people were coming from every state across the nation was going to be there. We knew all the politicians were going to be there because they always go to this parade every fourth. So we knew that it was important that we did really well. And so that was one of our goals for that. So there was also other outreach opportunities that were happening in the state because I told, the other groups, the rest of the groups, I said, please, if you can't come to this one, do something in your area. And so we did have a couple other groups that were doing stuff up in the St. Louis area and down in the very, very southwest area of Missouri. And so, they did some wonderful things by setting up booths and handing out flyers and just being out there talking to people too. So it worked out really, really well. So we were very excited.
May I?
Yeah.
Would you mind if I shared the screen and showed the pictures?
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, while you're talking.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, we had a lot of questions about our flag. So had a lot of people. It really, really stirred. And I will tell you, I would say it was the politicians the most. They were the ones who came up and were asking a ton of questions at our booth. Who are you? What does this flag mean? What are you doing? And so, it really, really did get their attention that, for the people that were in the area. We had some people that were very excited, and some of their questions were that they were asking, are you for or against the data centers? They wanted to know that because a lot of people are very upset because data centers have come to the Marshfield area and they snuck in through the back door and hasn't been a good thing. So, but those were some of the things that people were asking and wanted to get more information on. And basically, whenever we were at our booth and we were talking and to people, we, just said we're here to educate and let people know that the American government is here. And most people don't realize that there is an American government. And so we're here to educate you on it. And then we would give them information and just told them, here's information for you to start your research. So that's what our purpose was to basically educate. So, Andrew, you have a question?
Not a question. I have kind of a comment. I just wanted to let everybody know how, because of what you brought up, that flag, with our civil peace flag, people don't realize how big of an issue this is. It really is a big issue. So what I've been trying to tell people and recommend that anyone who's a state national or assembly download some, I think on the IceDrive, there is a big story on what the peace flag's about and stuff like that. And I think all of us should have that on hand at all times. Because here in my county, as sheriff, I had a meeting with the mayor, and this was probably a year ago. And I was going to raise our flag in front of the courthouse. And the mayor had a lot of questions, and she was really concerned of civil unrest, And I never, after I left that meeting, I never really thought about it, but I was like, maybe I don't know what I'm doing here, So I started making meetings with the local VFWs and all these kind of places like that, and wanted to talk to the veterans and see how they felt. And man, it was a range. I mean, a range. A lot of these guys really, well, you have to remember they don't know what's going on, and they fought for the Old Glory. They had friends that died for Old Glory, and they see this new flag, and it really, yeah. So that's why, and I gave them a lot of that literature just to say, hey, what you guys did was, great. No one can take it away from you. But this flag here is the fruits of your labor. We're at peace now because of what you guys did. And that's how I tried to explain it to them. But, it is a big issue. And I think everybody ought to have paperwork on hand to help, to help us all out. I yield.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And that seemed to be one of the biggest things was they wanted to know what did this flag mean and what was it? And we explained, that it was the civil flag and it's the peace flag. And then, of course, people were trying to call us sovereign citizens, and I said, no, we're not sovereign citizens, and tried to explain that. But the politicians really struggled with it the most, and we get a lot of politicians that also come that are trying to run for, Senate and those positions within the state as well as for the U.S. Senate. And so I just put back to them, I said, well, why are you working for a corporation? What is it that you're trying to do? Why do you work for a corporation? And the one gentleman was like, well, I don't. What are you talking about? And I said, yeah, you do. I said, you need to look it up. And I gave him some information to try to look it up. And the look that came across his face was just kind of like, does she know something I don't? And I told him, I said, if you need any help, I said, you contact me. And he's like, well, how do I contact you? And I turned around because I had it written on my shirt, the Missouri Assembly .land. I said, contact me there. I said, I'm the state coordinator. And he wrote it down. He was like, okay. I said, look it up. I said, see who you work for. So I think he was a little bit surprised. So, Louise?
Yes, this is this is great. Congratulations on your winnings. Now I know you all want to do an article for the Assembly Ledger,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And all that outreach going on over there in Missouri, those other people who's downstate and upstate, all you guys need to do an article for the Assembly Ledger. It's in editing right now, but we still have space. We're still trying to fill it up. So
Okay.
we're gonna reach out to you to see how many articles coming out of Missouri for this outreach y'all doing over there.
I already have it written, so you just tell me where to send it and I'll send it to you.
That's fantastic.
Send it to the PKTF affiliate director.
Okay, we'll do that.
2024 at proton.me. I think I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, I was just going to
Okay.
say, throw that in
All
the
right.
chat.
Thank you. If that's to you, Louise, then I think I have your email.
That's me. Mhm.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we're just real excited here in Missouri and working on outreach. And I just owe Luis, I owe you a huge thank you, and Andrew, a huge thank you because you guys have directed people to us, and we very much appreciate that the people that you guys that have been trying to find Missouri and found it through the PKTF and through Andrew and Adam. We really appreciate you guys sending them our direction. So with that, I yield unless you guys have any other questions.
I have a question, Loretta. When you were making the arrangements with the organization that was organizing the parade, how did you apply for the spot? Did you apply as the Missouri Assembly, or was it like just you applying, or how did you do that?
Well, I went in and I talked to them first, and I told her that I was with the Missouri Assembly, and she initially she first asked me, she says, well, is that political? And I said, no, I said, it's governmental. And I said, we're just for education. I said, we're only going to be handing out educational material. So she wasn't really sure what that meant. She didn't ask any further questions about it. And when I filled out the documents online, that's just what I put, but nothing more was asked. But she did try to get me to join the chamber at that point and was inviting me to come to, their meetings and everything. But that's not something that we do, as far as joining the Chamber of Commerce and that kind of stuff. So anyway, I did have to register online on their
Their
online
organizations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did have to go in there and fill out all the documents, fill out their application and everything to be in the parade and to have a vendor booth. So
Yeah.
but
And
that's basically how I handled it.
did you have to provide any kind of insurance?
No, the reason why we didn't have to provide insurance is because we weren't selling food or doing anything like that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Even
yeah.
having a car in the parade, you didn't have to provide.
Mm-mm.
No.
No,
Wow, that's pretty good.
no, we didn't have to provide anything. So, yeah, there were, if I think it was mainly if you were selling food, that seemed to be the biggest thing. If you were dealing with food, then they wanted you to be insured. They wanted you to have all the, you know, health certificates and all that kind of stuff that had been inspected and everything. But yeah.
And at your booth, what did you have at your booth?
Well, as far as at our booth, we had some different brochures and information. Then we also had just some information on land, sea, all the different jurisdictions. So we had information to be able to show people with that. We had other, different types of information, and then we had stuff that we were actually handing out. And so one of the things that one of the gals, Rachel Ross, that she thought of, actually, I think it was Deborah Brady who gave the idea, and Rachel, she just went ahead and did it. But we used one of the flyers that we had was just like a small card that was like a 3x5. And what she did was she rolled that up and then tied it with a ribbon, a red ribbon. And those went like hotcakes. People wanted those. And one of the great things about that was that it was small and people were able to tuck it into their pocket or their purse and not feel like they had a big thing to carry. And so that was something that, a lot of people they reached into the basket and were willing to take one of those, and also the business card size. We did a lot of business card size type of cards that had information on both sides, basically asking questions and then giving information on one side it asked questions, on the other side it gave information on where they could go to begin their research. And so a lot of people were taking those too. So we didn't hand out like big flyers. We were working on a tight budget. And so that's one of the things that we did. Now, the group that was up in St. Louis, they actually did half sheets, I think, for their flyers. And so they were handing out other types of things, some similar to what we were doing, but they were handing that things out in half sheets. And so some of the feedback that I got from them was that they would have liked to have had maybe a little baggie to put all the different flyers in, where the people that we were giving information to were taking one or two of the items. They weren't taking everything. So so I think it just depends on what you're trying to hand out, to what kind of, situation, what you need. But up there in the St. Louis area, they basically, how that ended up working out was we got started on that one a little bit too late, and all the vendor booths where they were going to go was already booked up. And at some of the other ones that were not yet booked up, the prices for their booths up in the St. Louis area was just astronomical. So where mine, what down here in this little tiny town, they only charged $50 for 3 days. And so that was doable. But up there, they wanted 500, for one day. And so it was like, okay, well, there's no way. But what they did allow was that they could just bring a tent, just like a vendor booth type of tent. And they said, oh, you can go anywhere you want. So they went out to the lake, right there on the lake, set up a vendor booth, just like, it had the flag, had everything. They put a table in it, and about half a dozen to a dozen, of the St. Louis and the surrounding counties up in that area, they went out, they brought a picnic lunch and everything, and they just had, a time of fellowship, as well as they went out and started talking to people. And so it was just, they said it was great. It was laid back. They did that. I want to say they got together and did that from like 9 to 1 or 2. So they didn't, go past that. It was hot. It's been pretty hot in Missouri. So, during that 4th of July, it was like, well, Ohio was experiencing the same thing, 90, 100-degree temperatures. And so nobody wanted to be out, for long periods of time. But that's what they ended up doing, was doing that up in St. Louis. And it worked out really well. Now, down on the other end, the gentleman family, which actually you guys might, which I don't remember if it came through Louise or from from Andrew, but John Gardner, I don't know if you guys remember, one of you guys sent him our direction, and he's been phenomenal. He's actually working on learning all the militia commander stuff at this point, but he is a huge outreach, which he's been such a blessing. And so he lives right in that southwest corner, which actually borders two other states. And so he has family that's actually across into Arkansas as well as into Oklahoma. And so he took and put flags on his truck, and he went through town and during the celebration and parade that they were having. And then he and his wife stopped and started handing out flyers and doing, just whatever they could to do their own outreach in that area. So it was just him and his family that did the outreach down in that area. But it was, he's been phenomenal. He's had the most people come in and, visiting on our General Assembly meetings just to check us out and see what's going on for the past 6 months. And so he's phenomenal. So thank you for him. He was an answer to prayer. So, but anyway, but yeah, that's what we've been doing. And so we're just going to continue. We did debrief afterwards and talked about what went right, what we, would like to change. And then, how frequently do we want to try to do these bigger outreach and, efforts, and where else can we possibly go? One of our goals is to do what the PKTF and Anna have talked about, and you guys have been working through is, trying to get at least 2 ASNs on every county. So that's one of the things that we're working on. So we're trying to get our list together to figure out where our ASNs all are at this point. And so then from there, I'm going to start trying to do outreach in those counties that we don't have anybody, or at least, try to work our way close to those. So I yield.
That's awesome. It was such a beautiful float, and you guys did such a great job with. How long did it take you to, besides putting the cake together? I know you said you had to put the other stuff together, like, in the one picture it looked like you had pillars.
Mm-hmm.
Was that supposed to represent the 4 pillars of the government?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that was representing the 4 pillars, and then we tried to put like a banner on each one of those that came down the sides that had the name of the pillar. Yeah, that was not easy to try to do.
Right. And so how long
Easier
did it take
said
you?
than done. But basically, those pillars, what we ended up doing is I just went to the local flooring company that's in town, and I said, "Hey, do you have any extra carpet, rolls that you're not going to use?" And they were very gracious and wanted to know what we wanted them for. And I said, well, they're going to be in the parade. And so they were like, oh, okay. And so they didn't know who we were, even though, we said Missouri, the Missouri Assembly. They were like, oh, and they just kind of were like, okay. They even helped us cut them in half and be able to get them into the car and all of that. And then we basically just took those and used some spray glue, and we went to Dollar Tree and just grabbed some of that sparkly paper and just rolled them, and that's how we created those. And then the artistic work actually came from Curtis and his neighbor. So his neighbor, who she's not an ASN, but she helps us tremendously. She's helped us with all of our T-shirts and things like that. But she is very artistic too, and she does decoupage. And so she literally, you took some napkins and did decoupage and decoupaged the tops of those. So Curtis had cut out the top of the pillar part, and she literally glued those napkin pieces, one little tiny piece at a time, all over those. And I'm sure that she spent a lot of time. That kind of stuff is what took the most time. And then he also carved out a 250th that set on top of the cake, and that's not really seen very well in the pictures, but that was all out of wood. And then she decoupaged all of that as well. And so that was some of the detail that was seen, that was a part of that. And then we also, you can tell, I think in one of the pictures that there was a speaker so that we could play music. And so we had made up a music a track that had all the different types of, so we had a playlist, and so we were able to play that as well. So yeah, it was fun. So, but yeah, looking forward to we're already starting to try to plan next year. We're like, we need more time. So, because I think we started this in April, May. I think it was in April when we started talking about it and was like, hey, what are we going to do? So, and, but yeah, if you're going to do a float, start a little bit early because it does take time. So,
About how many hours do you think it took you to put all that together?
okay, well, that day on the day of, we had to put all the festooning on, we had to put the matting on and the fringe. So that all had to get put on as well as the back. So the flag and um the sign for the Missouri Assembly Land and Soil Jurisdiction, that all had to be done that morning. And I would say we spent an hour to an hour and a half trying to get that done before it was driven over to the school where where they had to line up. So, and the parade was 2 hours long. So there was a lot of entries in the parade. So, and they were anticipating that it was going to be a 2 hour parade this year. So, there was a ton and a lot more floats than I think they've had ever before too. So, but yeah, and I don't know how much time Curtis had spent, but we spent that day about an hour and a half just trying to get the rest of that put together. And then we spent a couple of hours at Karen's house working through the rest of it. And they bolted, and Karen painted, her husband allowed her to paint her trailer blue for the parade. So she also had taken time to paint her trailer. And then they bolted the cake down because it was made out of masonite and wood is what it was made out of. So, yeah,
Huh.
I don't know how many hours total went into everything, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
gives us a good idea of the amount of detail, and the
yeah.
materials used.
I
Louise,
got two questions. How many people on your assembly was involved in all of this, and what was your budget for all of it?
Well, that's a really good question. Let's see here, a total with everything. Okay, so for the Marshfield group, that came that day, we had, let me think here, Curtis, Rachel, myself, Karen, and her husband, and then my husband also came and helped. And so there was like six of us. Oh, and then Rachel's husband also came. So I think there was seven of us there. I want to say up in the St. Louis area for what they were doing, there was between 6 to 8 of them up in the St. Louis area. I actually have it all named in the article, so everybody who's actually participated. And then there was down in the McDonald area, there was, I think, just the two. It was just John Gardner and his wife, and they did everything that they did down there. Um, so I would say by the time all said and done between all of the groups, probably 15 to 20 people. Does that sound about right? Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood.
And so how
Yeah.
much did you all spend for this whole event, for the float event?
Well, let me think here. I think Karen said she spent 155. I spent, let me think here. It was 50 for the vendor booth, and then for the I think I want to say Curtis said that he spent around $50 to $60 to make the cake. So
260.
yeah, so that's about what I think,
What about
somewhere around in there.
the papers that you all had rolled up and all that?
Yeah.
Is
So
that
I
within
want to
that?
say by the time everything was said and done, it was right around 300 for that. So we did also well, and that doesn't include, we did have to buy some flags. So those flags I want to say were $15-20 each. And so we bought two of those, and because those were donated by one of the gentlemen out of Lincoln County. And trying to and then we also had to buy and I think that was, although I think the other was a part of other bigger sign was a part of what Karen had already figured in. So that was part of the 155, I think, that she figured. So yeah, I think the festooning and the matting and the fringes, we got those through parade. What was it called? Parade Float and Stuff, I think is what it was called, the website. That was the cheapest place that we could find it. And I think by the time, and that was a 6x12 trailer that she had. And so for to be able to do everything that needed to be done for that, I believe it was around $80 was the cost for that.
About, yeah, close to 450, about 450.
Yeah, we didn't get a price from the St. Louis group, didn't tell us a price on what they spent for their big sign that they had made. So we don't know what that cost them, but the signs were running around $50-$60. So we're guessing it was somewhere around in there. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love the fact that you guys divided up and hit 3 different areas of your state on the same day, and that you had anywhere from 7 to 8 people each in those groups. That's a pretty decent turnout.
Yeah. I just told him, I said, guys, I said it would be such a shame. And I said, for us to let this July 4th go by and us not do something. I said, we need to do something. And everybody agreed we needed to do something. And I will tell you that, okay, so the group in St. Louis, they wanted to do something, but nobody wanted to step forward to be the contact person. So after waiting and continuing to ask, I finally pleaded with them. I said, guys, I said, I would be so broken if you do not do something. I said, if all you need is a meeting, I said, I will host a meeting. And so I hosted the meeting and I said, come to the planning meeting. And so they came. And then from there, they started planning and then they took it over. It was getting that initial step. Nobody wanted to take that first step. And I was just like, I can put a meeting together. Okay. That's one thing I can do. We can have a meeting. You need somebody to do a meeting, I'll do a meeting. So and I was like, come to the meeting, and they all showed up. They were like, yeah, we do want to do something. We just don't want to be the one raising our hand saying, I'll be the leader. So I'm like, okay, I'll be the leader, but I can't be there. You guys have to do the work. So I said, I'll be in Marshfield. So you guys have to do this other, but no, they did great. So I was so proud of them. They did great. And I was just thrilled that they stepped forward and were willing to, do the work. So
Yeah, and that's what it takes. It takes everybody pitching in to do the work. I don't know how many times Anna has to say it's just you, me, and the chickens, so but that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. I mean, I know I'm taking some notes here myself. And it was such a great idea and very inspiring. So I hope when people watch the playback, they get to see the pictures. I know you shared them on Telegram. I think it was Curtis, or I forget who shared them, but it was really inspiring to see that. So thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, when I got your email, I was like, well, how did she know? So I'm like, I didn't share them with you. So I was like, how did you know? And then I went to and I realized that Curtis had shared them with you. So I was like, oh, I had no idea. So all right. Well, I yelled you. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Just get out there. We got to do this, guys. We have got to do this. I am telling you, we have got to stand these states. So
yeah, and doing, giving us an idea of how much it costs and the amount of time and effort it took to put it together. And I guess too, if you got the stuff, if it's already, done, you could probably take that topper off the cake and put something else up there and enroll it again next year, and every year maybe you change it up a little bit, but at least, that's money spent that you could reuse and do it again, repeat it.
And that is the case as far as, when it came to the signs and the flags, we knew we could reuse those, and we attempted. I don't know how well we succeeded, but we did attempt to try to save as much of the fringe, the matting, and the festooning as we possibly could. When we took it off, we were trying to be so careful. And so, we'll see what we end up being able to reuse, but, for next year, but that'll definitely help in cost, to be able to do it again and not have to spend as much. So.
Yeah, and I think what we're learning along the way is that consistency is the key, is that when you keep showing up, especially, putting it out there, even if you had your a logo or something, because that's, symbols and things, as much as there's like negative, thoughts on symbols, but people remember a symbol. And when they see it time and time again, and they keep seeing that flag, I think our flag is probably one of the biggest symbols we can use. But when they keep seeing that, and the more they see it, the more they're going to continue to recognize it and ask more questions,
Yes. Bingo. You just nailed it right there, because and that's what I told everybody. I said they need to see it at least 3 times. And then then it penetrates their brain, and they're going to be like, wait, I know that. I've seen that
Yeah,
before.
where have I
And
seen that
then,
before? Yeah.
right, that recognition will start to happen. And so that's why I was like, this was our first time. We need to get out there a good 2 more times. And then people will start to really be like, oh, what is this about?
Right. And
It'll
then,
start to really hit, and it won't just be the politicians coming and asking you what you're doing. So,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Louise.
Loretta, can you uh take statistics for us as people come in from after seeing the float and everything, they come knocking at y'all door. Let us know what type of response you all actually got from this experience. How many people, came to inquire at the assembly meeting, or how many people signed up? I shouldn't say sign up, just declared their status, that type of statistics, so we can see how effective it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll also check with our IT guy and see if he is able to track if there was a spike in people coming to the website too. So, yeah, thank you. Yep, that's a great idea. I'll do that, Louise.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Joanne, you had your hand up. Did Louise ask your question?
Yeah, she did. That's what I was going to ask if they had any feedback.
Yeah. All right. Okay, anybody else? Any more questions for Loretta? All right. I don't think there was anybody. Yeah, there's nobody from Michigan, because Michigan did something too, and I was going to see if they wanted to, give us their feedback. I think from the pictures that they shared on Telegram, it looked like they were walking in the parade, and they had like a banner, and they were just walking the parade. So I was curious to see what, how that turned out for them. But I don't know. Maybe next meeting they'll come on, and they can let us know. But good stuff, really great stuff. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next agenda item: county tour project update for New Jersey. So we've come across a couple of challenges for our county tours, and mostly it has to do with kind of like what you were saying, Loretta, is getting people engaged and active in doing the work. And so, the way that we were structuring our county tours is that we were going to a county that had somebody that was attending our meetings, but yet didn't have many people. It wasn't a heavily populated county. And so we thought that by hitting up that county, that we would get some exposure there. But the problem is that the county that we were going to next, that person that was going to help us ended up having a whole ton of stuff happen to them, a loss in the family, and just other personal things going on that they couldn't commit to doing the work. And so when you don't live in a county, or you don't live in a certain part of the state, it's very difficult to try to plan an event. You don't really know the demographics there. You don't know, the business owners. You don't know, the people, and it's far, and you got to travel. And so we figured out, that we really do need committed people that show up to the outreach meetings regularly, and that are willing to put the time, the energy, and the effort into the work that has to get done when we're putting an event like this together. So So we have, learned from that experience, and we have a few more scheduled. And those of us that, will be working on that county tour show up regularly for our outreach meetings. And so I think it's going to be more successful and well received. So that's a learning experience. And I think it's kind of like a theme, I feel like, for a lot of our assemblies is that, getting people to have the time to put into doing the work. I think that that's just a part of our programming. I think that's all a part of our indoctrination, right? That we just have been so used to somebody else doing this work for us that's the struggle. That's the struggle is getting people out of their programmed mind that, oh, I have to do this work. Yeah, it's kind of like, nobody has to tell you to brush your teeth or take out the garbage, so we need everybody to step up and pitch in and help out with the work. And so anyway, I think that it'll be more successful for us moving forward, that we're more strategic in the counties that we're choosing to do these county tours in. And so, and I know I have, let's see, four people on my assembly that are also a part of the outreach. If you guys have anything that you'd like to say about our county tours and maybe how we're restructuring things, feel free to unmute yourself and contribute. Patisa, Joanne, Alice, Dan, anybody, you guys can say anything you want if you feel like you need to. Something I missed?
May I?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think the turnout was also a big concern, and I think that had a lot to do with maybe lack of knowledge in that county. So I tend to agree with what you're saying. I think, focusing on, I guess, the counties that the folks that are more involved in know, I'm hopeful that we'll see a better turnout, because we're more connected within those communities and we know the people, and I want to maybe kind of we speak the same language just because we're in from the neighborhood, but I think you kind of get the drift of what I'm saying. But lack of turnout, right? I mean, I think what was the most we got? Maybe it was in Burlington. Maybe we got how many? We get 4 people, 5 people show up, and how many flyers did we put out? And
5
so
new people, yeah.
something like that. So yeah, I yield.
Tammy, Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, Joanne.
Um, the tour that we're supposed to be having in September in Union County, I did get in touch with the library, and I have to email a person. They want to know what the education thing is going to be about, and so I wanted to talk to you guys to see what I should say because from the other times they've been going to the library, they were saying that because it's political, they can't do it. But so I just need to figure out what to put on there and they said that we could have food. They said there's stuff set up for the computers and stuff like that. And also, I wanted to start putting out flyers now, so that they can have a heads up. I yield.
Yeah, Loretta has her hand up. Go ahead, Loretta.
I was just going to say, if anybody tries to say that you're political, you're not. We're a government. So government is not political. So that's one of the things that you can let them know is no, we're not political. We're government. And we're just doing education. And you can just tell them we're educating about the American government. That's all that they really need to know. Because
Okay.
that's honestly, that's what you're doing.
Right.
So politics is basically your left and your right, and your Republicans, your Democrats. You're not any of that. So, I did want to ask, what is the frequency of outreach do you find to be successful? whenever you guys are doing your outreach? How frequently do you guys go out to try to do outreach events?
Well, what we were doing on New Jersey is, and again, it was just in one area of the state because we didn't, and it was me giving the presentations. And I would say that I religiously did 2 meetings a month. It was a face-to-face meeting locally. And we had somebody at one point. This is the one thing that I feel like really makes a difference in outreach is having somebody in your outreach committee that can constantly be updating your social media pages. Because social media, as much as we don't like to use it, we don't like Facebook, we don't like, big tech knowing what we're doing. It works. It's great marketing. And so if you, and also constantly sending out the emails, like if you have your contact lists of people that, signed up on your website or however way you're getting people's email addresses. That was the other thing. Like whenever we did outreach face to face, I would always have a sign up sheet and ask people for their email addresses to be added to our contact list to invite them to future events. And I built, I want to say our contact list for our assembly, probably 200, maybe more, that are not status corrected Americans. So these are people that wanted more information, so they constantly get the information. But we don't have somebody on our assembly right now that's leading up outreach. And so what I've noticed was when, because I'm wearing many hats in my assembly, and when I was only doing outreach, I had the time to send the emails systematically. I would send them maybe at the beginning, like if we were having an event on Thursday, I would send the email out, say on Monday, and then I'd send it out again on Wednesday, and then maybe the morning of. And same thing with like Facebook and Telegram and whatever else. I would constantly put, you'd make a little social media thing for Telegram or Facebook, and I would put it up there. And we also had somebody in our assembly that would literally go to all the local businesses. And I feel like that was probably one of our better outreach marketing techniques, if you would, where he would hand flyers out to all the local businesses. And these were people he knew. So he was going into like his barber, where he got his bagels in the morning for breakfast, all the different local places that he would, frequent and have conversations with these people. And he would give the flyers. I feel like, and if you're consistent with your meetings, showing up, if you're there every, second Wednesday of the month, whatever it is, and you're consistent with it and you're constantly doing that, I feel like that's really makes a huge difference. And again, what we were working on as part of our outreach was trying to get, we have our own logo. And so getting a logo up there, perhaps with the peacetime flag, and going all out with different venues, whether it's a local newspaper. I know here on New Jersey, we've got digital signs. I know Dunkin' Donuts now is doing this. They actually, on their sign, below their sign, they have like a digital TV where they're renting space. I guess it's another way for them to generate, revenue, but that's also a marketing thing that you can do. But we also, in our diners here, we have placemats where people do ads on the placemats. So hitting up all different things. And for me, I think the other thing that we talked about in our assembly is dividing it up into counties. If if you live on a certain county, you are now tasked with doing outreach on your county. It can't be up to the people in my county to do outreach on your county, right? Like otherwise you're spreading yourself way too thin, and I feel like that's what we're doing here, is spreading ourselves thin, and that everybody should be doing their own outreach. Like, it shouldn't be up to one person that gives a presentation. It really has to be up to the county and how they want to do their outreach and how they want to meet with their people. To me, that's what I feel like I've learned these last 4 years of doing outreach on my state, is that we have to leave it up to people to put on their big boy and big girl panties and start doing their work on their own counties. Louise, go ahead.
Well, I think that's it, Tammy. Something that Anna's been saying all the while. You're the same people.
Right.
on the soil as on the land, you're the same people. And I think the essence of what that means is every person that's on, or man or woman that's on the state assembly is supposed to be the one on their county.
Is also, yeah.
On their county assembly, as she says. So everyone is a coordinator for a county.
Well, I mean, if you've got like, 10 people on your county, not all 10 of them. I mean, I guess,
right. Yeah.
Like, not all 10 of them want to be coordinators, but yeah, but all 10 of them can do outreach. I mean, that's really, I think outreach is the job that every single one of us can and should be doing.
And of course, with the American Government Research Project, that is the main thing. That is the main focus, because the main focus is rescuing everybody. Yeah. That is the main focus, and that's what outreach is. So as we focus more on that, we'll get, more people involved with our assemblies and more people just status corrected, back home to the land and soil.
Right. Right. So I have nothing else to report for our county tours on New Jersey. Hopefully, I'm hoping, September, October will probably have more of an update to give for our assembly. Alice, go ahead. Oh, you're muted, Alice.
I do this all the time. If it'll help Joanne, all I put down was New Jersey Assembly. And the library came back and they said, "What are you going to be doing?" I said, "Well, we're having an outreach meeting." And they said, "Okay." And when they confirmed it, that's what they put on it, was New Jersey Assembly outreach meeting, giving me the date and told me I couldn't put any posters on the library property. And that was it. And that we couldn't make a profit by using the room because it was for free.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think, Joanne, since you already said that you're going to be doing education, they want to know what education. I mean, I'm sure that they're asking because they don't want you to do maybe like, I don't know, something, maybe a perverted like education. I mean, I'm sure that there's reasons why, but
he said because sometimes you have companies coming in there and they're saying it's educational and they wind up selling things.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, you could just tell them we're doing a history, a class on the American history. That's really what it's going to be about.
Mayor Tammy.
Hey, Patisa, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's what I told the library when we did Burlington County. I said it was a history, about history. And she didn't give me any other, first she was saying stuff, and I said, yes, just history workshop. So something like that. So yeah, just tell them history because it really is.
Yep, that's true. Awesome. All right. Anybody else have anything else? Any questions? Any comments? Loretta, go ahead.
Just really quick, wanted to let you guys also know that we were put into the newspaper. They didn't put a picture of the float, but we were mentioned in the newspaper. Unfortunately, they decided to abbreviate our name and put MO Assembly. And so I wrote a letter to the editor, and so I'm waiting to see if that's going to get published in the newspaper. So to make that correction.
Yeah.
So, yep, I
Yeah.
yield.
Yep. It's good that we make sure we correct them now rather than later. No confusion. All right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna yield to Louise. Louise, you got the floor now.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yep.
So I only got a little update on where the American Government Resurgence Project is going from what we talked about last month. And I think I did get the website done as far as the repurposing website, but strange thing is, I've gone from GoDaddy to Bluehost, and somehow it keeps being taken down for some reason. And I don't know the word taken down is the word, but they keep saying, well, a government so the URL is gov.land. They're saying, well, a gov website URL is a high demand like domain, and so it's going to attract attackers. So I
I
don't
guess
know
they want
what's
to
going
charge you
on.
more.
They kept wanting me want to charge me this for a back end website security, want to charge me this for web development, and I'm like, wait a minute. Don't you already have that? I mean, don't you have security on your server already? So anyway, so I won't be showing that tonight because it's not up. We have started the Union State Assembling Guidebook. We got introduction done and the section 1 done. We're reviewing and editing section 1, but it's going to turn out really good. And what I'm wanting to do is, so this is the big thing, and Tammy, we just touched on it, but we haven't talked about it. But what I'm really wanting to do is to kick off this Union State Assembling initiative with a workshop, an outreach workshop. So the PKTF and the International Outreach Think Tank is going to partner. Well, at least we said we talked about it, but I'm talking to you guys here about it now. What do you all think? Would you all like to see a workshop on all the different types of strategies that you want to talk about? And I was thinking like a 12 noon to 5 time frame for East Coast, West Coast. That'd be a good time frame. And take a day and pick a few people and talk about what types of outreach that you all can do. And the focus is really on outreach to your counties. And a lot of the things that we talked about here today is right for the type of conversations that I want in this workshop. And that's what I want to do to kick off the Union State Assembly initiative. Because what we're looking for, the PKTF is looking to work with a union state who's actually doing the outreach, who really have their focus on getting those 2 people in each county. Now, further down the road, the other thing that we're trying to secure is some funding to help these union states to do that and to go the next step. So the next step after getting your 2 in each county is actually restoring all county assemblies and all of your counties of your state, so that your union state is actually restored. The county assemblies are actually functioning. So we want to provide some funding to get all of that done, to get funding to a county assembly to function. Their sheriff, their justices, their, whatever it takes for the county assembly to function. But we want to do only 4 because there's different strategies you can use, and you don't really know how it's going to go, what type of experiences that you all are going to have. But we want to get it to a point where we know enough to tell the other counties and the other states, but this is what we tried and this is what worked. And they can use that as a reference point and cater it to whatever it is, they're going to change it to work for them. And the Union State Guidebook is going to be a guide to help all the people know what it is that we're focusing on, which is a Republican form of government, what that looks like, what that is, and this is what we're constructing, what a county assembly government is, what a Union State Assembly government is, what a State of the Union Assembly government is, what are subcontractors, what about managing your government services. So the vantage point that I want to bring out in the Union State Guidebook is that the county assembly is the manager of all the public services in their county. And nobody can tell you what to do about your community, your county. You are the supreme lawgiver in that county. And if you having a problem in your county, it's your fault. All these things that people are saying that they're experienced with their courts and with their sheriffs, with the data centers, you in that county takes responsibility for that and make it happen the way you want it to happen. And want to empower the counties to do that. So that's what we're trying to accomplish with the Union State Guidebook, is that type of focus and that type of inspiration for people. And we want anybody in the nation to be able to pick it up and say, I want to do this for my county. Here's my roadmap. I'm gonna do something for my county. That's how we want to write it. So to kick off the workshop, we talked about that, but and the second thing that I was thinking about is, after we kick off the workshop, the follow-up workshop would be on the guidebook, to actually do a 12 to 5 workshop on all the different sections and the key points in the guidebook, to present it as the guide, as the guidebook for all the counties to use. And that's what I'm working on.
Cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, anybody else who's got some articles to send on over here, with all the progress going on in y'all counties and all your states, send them on over so we can get it in this edition of the Assembly Ledger. I think that's all I got.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think another strategy that people can look into also is, and I know, Loretta, you spoke about the data centers, right? We had a lot of issues on our state too about data centers. We actually had, Alice was kind of on top of this, and she had noticed a lot of people on Facebook posting things about a town in my county that people were going to their town council meetings because they wanted to put a data center in their town. And there was so much ruckus. Like, there were so many people that showed up to their town council meeting that they ended up, I think, shutting it down. But I mean, I don't know if they're going to try to weasel it in some other way. You know how they're very smooth on, getting in through the back door in a different way that people aren't paying attention to. But my thought was that if you're paying attention to all the things that are going on in your county, whether it's road closures or, for us around here, it was a gas line. They were going to skip our roadway and not put the gas pipe in our roadway because right now we're on propane. But they were doing a different section of my community. And so all of us were like, well, hey, if you don't put the gas line in our community, our property values are going to go down because somebody else can buy a house over there that's got gas, and gas is cheaper than propane. And so anyway, we got together in our community and made a stink. My husband Dan was leading that charge, and we rallied all the neighbors to get together and contact the gas company. And so lo and behold, because there was some kind of, ordinance, we were able to basically tell the town that we want the gas line and we want you to disregard the ordinance. The people want this, and you need to listen to the people. And lo and behold, they listened to us. So, it was great. It was great, getting everybody together and doing something that was impacting all of us here in our neighborhood. And so I feel like if we are paying attention to those things that are happening in our counties, and we start rallying the people in our communities, in our neighborhoods, and we start affecting, that together, I think that we would really make a difference, on our counties, and have the opportunity to even attend town council meetings. That's something like when we do our county tours, that we can start, addressing people at the town council meetings and telling them who we are, and that they're a corporation, and that's what we're planning to do on our next county tours. And so anyway, I think addressing the outreach more locally to where you are is really going to be a little bit more impactful. Loretta.
No, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, we had a huge turnout too. There was like 1,000 people in the small city of Marshfield that only has 6,000 people to begin with that turned out for that meeting when it came to the data centers, but it was after the fact, but people were really fired up. And so I think that's true. There isn't very many people that actually attend the county commissioner meetings or even attend the alderman meetings or any of those. And so you start going to those meetings and you can start to get to know who those people are, and letting them know that you're there. And I'm trying to think of the question that I had for you, and it just went right out of my head. So
Don't
I had a
worry, that
question for
happens to
you when
me.
you were talking, and I was like, I wanted to ask you. So I apologize. As soon as I think of it, I'll ask.
Yeah, no worries. Just come right out and say, may I? Um, anyway, I know, Andrew, you want to tell us a little bit about an upcoming podcast that you're trying to schedule right now, or that you're in
Yeah.
the talks with?
Well, everyone, watching this video should know by now that I have a podcast called Restore the Republic on YouTube. If you're not subscribed, please get on there and do so. But no, having your own podcast, Tammy, you should know you get a lot of people that watch your videos and then contact you, and they're YouTubers themselves. So I got someone contacted me the other day with his name's Floyd Tarville the fourth, and everybody knows him as Fearless Floyd. And Fearless Floyd is not on the Assembly's line of thinking, but he is, an American, and he's trying to do things the way he thinks needs to be done. But he's asked me to come on his podcast, and I've told him yes, because I think that getting out our message, we just need to. So I'm going to take the opportunity to do that, even though we don't agree on everything. I just want people to know what we're doing and how we're doing it, and maybe it'll make my channel a little bigger or get more people involved, and that's the whole goal. So that should be happening probably within 2 weeks, I would imagine. But yeah, so, and I'm also going to try to find out a way, or figure out a way, since I'm going to be on his podcast, to somehow get a copy or get it streamed to my service so that everybody can watch. So yeah, that's in the making. So hopefully it turns out good. Ew.
Yeah, awesome. Louise, go ahead.
Yeah. Andrew, do you know that Chief Fast Force was on his podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Floyd,
So-
when we talked, he told me about it, and he had some good work. We love, everybody loves. Well, I'm not sure if anybody knows Chief Fast Horse personally. I don't know him personally, but I've had the opportunity to speak to him many times, and Louise has too. And he's a character. You can tell he's a good man. He's really good. He's a little out there, but they're doing their own thing, and we're like Anna said that the Republic of Lakota, we're working with them. So that's why we attempted to get a hold of him just to see where they're at. And yeah.
Now, if you all go watch that podcast, you wouldn't even know that Chief Task Force disagrees a lot with what Anna says, but you wouldn't know. So I think the podcast is going to be good because I think Fearless Floyd knows how to do the podcast. Because you don't want people on your podcast and you making them feel uncomfortable and asking them, attacking them and all that kind of stuff. He pretty much the way what I've seen, both of them respects the differences that other people have and don't project that into their conversations like that to put anybody down, because them two tell you them two don't agree on everything either. But I didn't get the feeling of an attack or anything while they were talking, even about Anna, because Anna did come up in their conversation.
Well, I'll tell you what, Louise, speaking with Fearless Floyd, he's a really intelligent man. He's done his homework. He knows the ins and outs of the law. And my whole deal was just, trying to pick some things up from him. I try to do that with anybody I talk to, ideas, outreach ideas, or just different lines of thinking, not to change our mission in restoring our assemblies, but how can we improve it, or how can things, and then the ultimate, like I was saying before, trying to bring everybody in together. How can we all together as Americans crack this nut, That's the thing. It's the key.
Yeah, and we have to start, putting out olive branches and trying to bring people together. For sure. Awesome. So everybody, look out for that on Andrew's podcast, Restore the Republic. You could find him on YouTube, and I guess in the next, couple of weeks or so, that'll be a good podcast. Loretta.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm glad that you're doing that too, because that is one of the things actually that PKTF as well as that Anna has said, is that we do need to start putting those olive branches out to the different groups. There's a lot of groups out there, and we need to find out what the commonalities are. One of the things that we talked about in our assembly was the militia pillar, and because that involves everybody. And if we can all get CERT trained, and we can all, in the event of a natural or man-made disaster, be able to come together and be able to work together to try to help people, that's what it really becomes about. So, that's one of the things we were, trying to look at. Well, if we go talk to other groups, what is it that we can try to work with and together on? So I yield.
Yeah. Awesome. Anybody have any other questions or comments they'd like to make on Louise, are you going to put out the date for the workshop and the link for the meeting anytime soon for us to,
Well, that depends on you and me. We got to talk about it.
All right. We could talk about it and then put something out there.
Yeah.
All right. Okie dokie. Anybody have anything else? Any wins that you'd like to share with us before we get going here?
Tammy, may I?
Yeah, of course, Alice, go ahead.
I tried to reach Philip and he's out for the night, so I guess I'm not going to be able to send that paperwork in for the reunion. Just letting you know.
Okay. I can text you after, or I'll call you when we get off the meeting here. But
Okay, dear.
yeah. All right, guys. Well,
I just want to quickly thank you very much for inviting me to be on tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you.
of course. And we do these meetings, Loretta, once a month. Curtis was supposed to be on here too, and I don't know if I was clear because, you know, it's been busy here, but the link for this meeting is always on the agendas. And so if, you know, I attach the agenda and everything else. Also, I think Vicki's flyer has the link for this meeting. And so that's how you could get on this meeting. And usually I try to share that out either in the Telegram. I don't always share it out in Telegram, but I always send it out in the email. So if you want to be, you know, get the, you know, all that once a month and you want to get the invite, I could just add you to the invite list as well. Yeah. So, but it was a pleasure to have you. Yeah. And we'd love to hear if you enter into any more other parades with your float and, you know, and anybody else, you know, I'd love to hear from Michigan too. So maybe next month they'll be on.
Hey, I just wanted to say, Loretta, we're proud of you. Good job.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Hey, and Andrew, thank you so much. So, you know, we appreciate you and Adam so very, very much for taking the time to
We're
listen
going to
to
try
us.
to keep sending them your way because
Yep,
they
we
asked about
appreciate
Missouri.
that. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we had somebody come our way too. Louise connected me with a woman that I thought was a man because her email said Alex. So, but yeah, so you know, she's in process. So thank you, Louise and PKTF, for, you know, having your presence all over the place, and people being able to connect with us through PKTF. So, and Louise, thank you for hosting last month for me. You know, most people, last couple of months have been so busy for me. And July has just been like a month where I'm just trying to breathe because it was crazy 2 months. But thank you for hosting last month. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you all for coming and being a part of the meeting and sharing your outreach initiatives. You know, that's really what this meeting is for everybody to come together, collaborate, share what's working, what's not working, and helping each other grow and get really great outreach going. So thank you all for coming and contributing. And a big thank you to all the people on my assembly. I love you guys and love all of you too. So Darren, and thank you for jumping on all the way from Australia. I know it's, God, what time is it by you? Is it early in the morning?
11:11.
Oh, okay. So not super early, but awesome.
No, thanks, Penny. We'll attempt to make more of the meetings. I've missed a few recent months, but I enjoy these meetings. We do have a fair bit we can share with you going on here at the moment. So we'll make an effort next month to come in and update what we're doing with outreach, and certainly a lot of stuff with the local assemblies or your county assemblies as well.
Yeah.
So, we'll share.
Beautiful. I look forward to it.
And look forward to being on the workshop. Be doing one of those workshop pieces.
Very interested in that, Louise, for sure. I think I've shared with you before the structure that we want to implement here, and it's aligned beautifully with what's being announced over there with Rocky and the stuff that Anna's talking about with the 4 National Soil Assembly pillars. So,
All right.
very keen to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks, Tammy.
See you next
Good
month.
night, everybody. Thank you for
All
being
right.
here.
Good night.